hear each other in the backyard. Neither one of us can figure out what's happening.
Throughout that February, emergency services received over 200 calls from concerned citizens, some even reporting physical symptoms from hearing the noise. But one question was on everyone's mind: where was this screeching noise coming from? One of the first theories that came up was that the noise was coming from a gas leak, something that could possibly be that loud. However, the Northwest Natural Gas Company quickly shut down this idea, stating that if there was a gas leak, they would have become aware of it already. Also, a gas leak sounds more like a jet taking off rather than the screeching sound reported. On top of that, they pointed out that if there was a gas leak big enough to cause this much noise, the smell of the leaking gas would spread throughout the city as well. Another theory that came up was that this was the result of trapped air in sewer lines escaping through a manhole. However, a major flaw in this theory was that if it were true, why did the noise only begin in February of 2016? The fire marshal, on the other hand, suggested the idea that it might be coming from someone's faulty air conditioning system. This is because many dysfunctional systems emit a very high-frequency sound, similar to what the residents of Forest Grove were hearing.
To hear throughout the whole city, though, is crazy, though.
The truth is, this noise could have been coming from any number of sources, including construction equipment or a broken emergency siren. Unfortunately, the sound appeared to be coming from all directions, making it pretty much impossible to find its origin and verify any of these theories. While everyone was desperately trying to figure things out, the daily noise was becoming more and more unsettling with each passing day. But the eerie noise then suddenly disappeared just as quickly as it had begun. Over 9 years later, and this strange noise is still an unsolved mystery. That said, I believe the most likely theory is also the most boring one, that this whole thing was a prank or hoax by someone with a horn of some kind. You see, after getting overwhelmed by the number of calls from Forest Grove residents, the local police station began investigating the phenomenon more seriously. Amid their search, they put out a statement warning any potential pranksters, reading, "While some might find it comical, interesting, and mysterious, it's unlawful if it's being done on purpose. If this is the case, the individual caught will face possible repercussions." A couple days after this statement came out, the noise vanished and hasn't returned since. It's almost as if whoever was behind this realized that the prank was not worth the trouble and
troll,
stopped.
though, is it?
Of course, all this
Nah,
is
you just hold the whole city. That's actually the
unless
most
someone
W
comes
troll
forward
ever.
with a confession, I doubt we'll ever learn the truth about the origin of this disturbing noise.
He just hold the whole city for no reason.
On March 2nd, 2013, an anonymous user made an entry on 4chan talking about a creepy radio hijacking they experienced as a kid. The post read, "A creepy, I think, audio file which I've always been curious about. Back in 1994/1995, when I recorded this off of the radio, I told myself I'd never make a copy of the tape, having freaked myself out. But it's been sitting in the back of a desk drawer and in the back of my mind for 16 years now, and now I'm just curious. The weird stuff starts about 16 seconds in. Around 1995, I was about 15. I used to stay up late in my room listening to the radio on a boombox with an integrated
Well, about a cool 40, 50 now. 50
tape recorder. I'd dial through the stations, and when I heard something interesting, I'd hit record for a while and then move on. One night, I came across this. I don't think this was the beginning of the broadcast, but I caught a lot of it. Right at the end, an announcer says that the station I was tuned to was WKCR 89.9 New York. There are a bunch of names and dates in there, but I've never run into anything else like this. Alongside this was a link to an audio file that starts off quite normal with a section from a 1993 song by Billy Cobham. It then abruptly transitions into a violin section from a song called Golden Sonata by Henry Purcell. The audio then morphs into a bone-chilling, high-pitched scream of sorts. This alone is extremely creepy, but the audio doesn't stop there. Soon after this high-pitched scream, it morphs into the sound of a woman taking deep breaths.
Yo, what?
This breathing pattern repeats a few times, ultimately leading into the sound of a woman reading seemingly random names and dates in an almost whisper. This voice keeps repeating the same 9 names and dates over and over again. A little investigation shows that the names and dates are taken from their obituaries. The 2 most notable names among these belong to Frank Oppenheimer, the brother of the creator of the atomic bomb, J. Robert Oppenheimer, and Barry Joseph Valentino Jr., one of the victims of the Pan Am Flight 103 bombing in 1988. However, from what I've seen, there's no correlation between any of the names besides the fact that they're all dead. After repeating these names for a few minutes, the broadcast goes back to normal with a seemingly routine call sign announcement.
You're tuned to WKCR-FM New York, 89.9 on your dial. Colombian music is running a little late. It will be starting in a few minutes.
Nah, that's weird as shit. That's weird as shit.
Now, when the anonymous user originally posted this on
See, that's why I don't listen to the fucking radio no more, bro. They be having all type of weird shit going on over there, bro. I don't even listen to that shit no more, bro. That's why
it received a mixed reaction. Some people were deeply creeped out by it, while others were skeptical and believed the OP made this whole thing up. So, what's the truth? Well, there's evidence supporting both sides of the argument. The thing is, after receiving a few requests, the OP posted the full audio clip on YouTube with the channel named Ravenmouth. Searching it on Google shows that the OP has a Reddit account by the same name. With this, we can see that a couple of weeks after his 4chan post, Ravenmouth posted the same radio hijacking story on the No Sleep subreddit, which is mainly about believable but not always true disturbing stories. Near the end of this post, Ravenmouth also added a new section that wasn't present in his 4chan.
Did I just see they threw a dinner party to steal my baby?
Post
Yo,
reading,
what be going on already?
And for this I sincerely apologize, it never ever stops. I told you this was just something I'd found, and I swear to you that that's true. It really did happen that way. It's more than that though. I don't really know how long it takes. A few weeks or months from now when you're alone and suddenly you hear the keening, quavering sound rise up like it's crawling out of your spine and into your skull, you'll understand. When that night comes, if you listen closely to what comes after the horrible sound, you'll realize that the woman will be reading your name, new names. You'll play it for your friends, your family, add their names. I hope desperately that if I can make the list long enough, add enough names, then they'll take mine off and leave me alone. I'm sorry.
Nah, that nigga been playing that bitch back too much, boy. He been playing that bitch back like it's the new YB. Yo, hell nah. Yo, what the fuck?
This is plenty of evidence to show that this story is fictional and Ravenmouth made it all up. However, he remains adamant that while he did embellish the story a bit for the Reddit post, he still did record the audio from the radio when he was a teenager. So, could the WKCR station have actually been hijacked by someone? It's entirely possible. Radio hijackings are not a new phenomenon and were certainly a thing back when this would have happened. But WKCR is owned by a college and ran almost entirely by college students. When asked about it, the WKCR team stated, "As far as we know, this did take place on WKCR airwaves. In terms of the claim that it was a hijacking, that is very unlikely. WKCR is a weird place with weird programmers, probably just some late-night new music programmer having fun on the mic." Put simply, Ravenmouth was likely telling the truth, but what he thought was a creepy hijacking was just the artsy experiment of a college student. Although this, of course, cannot be 100% confirmed. On March 1st, 1999, the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration recorded an ominous sound coming from the ocean. This is what it sounds like at 16 times speed. This sound, named Julia, lasted for a whole 2 minutes and 43 seconds and was powerful enough to be detected across the entire equatorial Pacific Ocean hydrophone network. Hydrophones, for those who don't know, are basically underwater microphones. They were originally installed to detect submarines during the Cold War and were later converted to be used for general ocean research. This network became popular in 1997 when it captured multiple strange sounds coming from within the ocean, including the now iconic bloop.
What if that SpongeBob and shit? You know, Patrick and shit, you know, them niggas sound like them niggas farting and shit. I ain't gonna cap. You know what I'm saying?
According to the official explanation, the sound heard in this recording was caused by ice quakes and large icebergs, or by icebergs scraping the ocean floor. Julia was recorded nearly 2 years after this one. However, unlike Bloop, it doesn't have an explanation. Due to the high loudness of Julia, scientists weren't able to pinpoint its exact location. One potential solution that's been floating on the internet for a while now is that Julia originated from underwater volcanic activity. Sadly, this theory falls apart quickly upon inspection. This is mainly because there was also recorded audio coming from an underwater volcano called Upsweep, and it sounds nothing like Julia. A somewhat more interesting theory that tries to explain Julia is that the sound originates from an unknown sea creature. And while this does...
A fucking kraken. That's what it is. A damn kraken, nigga. Do y'all homework on a kraken. If y'all ain't never heard about a kraken, bro, do your homework on a kraken, bro.
Does sound like science fiction at best. It feels a lot more feasible when you consider the fact that we're yet to explore over 80% of the ocean in detail. However, the very idea of an ocean creature big enough to produce a sound audible from thousands of kilometers away is terrifying, and honestly quite out there. The sound dubbed Julia is one of many underwater sounds recorded that have yet to be identified.
Damn, man. Well, we'll never know. One day I'll probably go down there with my submarine and shit and go check it out for y'all guys, bro. I might have to take that risk, bro. I might have to do that, gang. You know what I'm saying? Cause niggas, it seem like niggas too pussy to do it, bro. So it's good. I got y'all. I'm gonna go down there. I'm gonna talk to whoever I need to talk to. Jump down there and I'm gonna go get my big ass camera, take pictures and everything, but we're gonna be good. We're gonna be good, gang. But that's it. Y'all go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, do all that and third. We out.